So here I am innocently watching a Simple Flips video where someone made a bet that, I don't know, something, would you eat an entire Pringles can for $100? There was a big debate in the Twitter about whether that means you actually have to eat the cardboard, and then some mad lad actually did it. He eats the entire fucking thing, including the cardboard, because of course he fucking does, right? So here he goes, literally eating a fucking Pringles can, right? There he is, the absolute legend himself. So I scroll down to the comments and look, in the pinned comments, it's the man himself. 123ZC1. Let me go on his channel. Oh. Why is this not surprising? Why am I completely unsurprised by any of this? Why is this the least surprising? Interesting is not the word I meant to say. Why am I so unsurprised by all of this? Why? If you ever take the time to read through Mal reviews, you'll see there's some rather wacky personalities. I'm watching this show called AD Police Files. It's like a prequel to Bubblegum Crisis. It's an OVA. It's pretty good. If you like weird visuals and cyberpunk, would recommend it. If you're, I'd recommend it a bit. I'd probably give it a 7, maybe a 6.5. Although I've only seen 1.5 episodes, it's 3 episodes. So anyway, here's what I'm saying. So I'm just like, let me check out what the Mal reviews for this show are, because I'm interested in what other people think of it. And I always want to look at the low-rated reviews, because I feel like that you get like an interesting perspective on shows that you like. If you can read a low-rated review of a show that you like and be like, and it's like look at this. Okay, so someone took the time to write all of this. Let's just point that out. And essentially, this is this is the wackiest shit I've ever seen. Let me tell you why it's the wackiest shit I've ever seen. Because of this. I don't know how well you can read that, but let me highlight it. This series has a weird, unhealthy fixation on sex, especially as it applies to women. In the first episode, we have crazed sex boomers and the lady who gets turned on by the sight of blood, which never comes up again, even though she's in the rest of the series. In the second episode, our serial killer was driven mad because her husband was cheating with prostitutes because he thought their normal vaginas were better than her cybernetic one. Blah, blah, blah. Then further on, this person keeps repeating themselves throughout this entire review about how this series has a weird obsession with sex. It's fucking Bubblegum Crisis. Of course it's got loads of fan service. But then what's most baffling is like, okay, I can understand just not liking gratuitous sex scenes, or not even sex scenes, but weird sex shit in your anime. But your profile picture is Fate Testarossa from fucking Nanoha, which is literally a lolly fan service anime. And if you go to your profile, you will see that one of your favorite characters... Oh, what's this? Sakura Trick? What a strange person. What an odd, strange person who comes in here talking about weird sex stuff when you what an odd brand of human. That's all I've got to say. What a strange brand of human you are, Cthulhu 007. What a strange brand of human. What else have we got here? I mean, this tells you all you need to know, really. This oh god, what an odd person. Who complains about fan service? Like, I would understand if you were consistent. If you were, like, just a person that doesn't like fan service. That's completely understandable. Not everyone likes sex that much in their media. Some people find it uncomfortable. I completely understand that, especially if you had some experiences in your life that make you feel that way. Completely understandable. What I don't understand is complaining about that in a show that's entirely about adults consensually doing whatever they do. And then having Nanoha and Sakura Trick in your favourites, or those favourite characters, but they have no favourites. What an odd person. What a strange chap. Oh shit, they have a website. Cthulhu's Reviews .wordpress, anime reviews, a new review every Wednesday, I can't read. Oh shit. What have we got here? This is interesting. That's not an anime. This is what I'm saying, right? Clearly this person has no problem with sex. So I'm just so confused. I just don't understand. What a wacky fellow. What a strange person. I've actually wanted to watch this for quite a while. Just purely for the aesthetics of the character design. I don't think it's going to be any good. I just for some reason they look good. Anyway. So this is a Sonic fan. This is a Nanoha fan. I just you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying right now, right? You understand what I'm getting at. I've never even heard of this show. Banno Bunka Neko Musume. Okay, I'm adding that to my fucking list because it's got. Here's a pro tip if you're not super into anime. If you see something which has a score that's like a 6 point something, that normally means it's either amazing or shit. So anytime I see a weird like little known OVA or something with a score in the 6s, I always try and watch it because it's always at the very least interesting. It's never boring. Well, sometimes they're boring. I've actually definitely had experiences where they're boring, but normally they're at least conceptually interesting. All-purpose cat girl Nuku Nuku. That sounds amazing. That's what I'm gonna say. How many? It's only 6 episodes. I might have to check this out. I may well have to check this out. Oh look, and look who we found here. Look who it is. Whoa, look who it is. Oh god. This is incredibly beautiful language. The characters are very well done. The art is pretty dated. The voice work is really good. The Yuri factor is a 3 out of 10. I'm just baffled by the existence of this human being. Oh god. This is nice. This is where everything's lacking. Because I just got this new vaporizer flavor. I just ran out, so I went down to my local newsagent corner shop thing and bought some cheap liquid. It's called Double Menthol, and I was like, I'm not super into menthol, but you know what? Let me give it a shot. It's the only thing here that I know won't be disgusting. Because every time I go to get cheap vape liquid from a corner shop, it always tastes like arse. And I'm like, you can't fuck up menthol. But I didn't realize it's a double menthol. I was like, what can that even mean, right? This is where everything's lacking. I wish you could taste this right now. I wish there was a way to internet vape. I wish I could email you a flavor. It's been lacking since the early days of television. You got sound, you got picture, that's it. Where's my smells? Where's my tastes? Where's my psychics? Ain't got no other senses. Lacking. This may well be the most minty thing I've ever experienced. This is insane. This is like... It's like chewing 5 gums at the same time. It's like imagine if someone just poured molten lava over you, but the opposite, and it was just mint in your mouth. It's kind of like... It's like a menthol cigarette if it was made of pure atoms. This is blowing my fucking mind right now. This might be too much. It might give me a headache or something. That is the most mentholy thing I've ever experienced, and I've experienced plenty of mentholy things. Holy shit. I'm telling you, there's no better combination in life than menthol and eggs. Eat eggs, smoke menthol. That's my philosophy. In other news, look at my fucking arms. Look at this shit. Okay? I'm a man. I should not be able to do this. These, they gotta go. They gotta go. My new goal is to build bigger arms. I'm not trying to become a fucking bodybuilder or whatever, but just wanna not be fucking, you know, having tiny skinny little arms. That's not my shit. Okay. I just want them to be a little more, just have a little more substance to them. Fortunately, as I understand it, it's pretty easy to do like calisthenics and stuff. Like I can just do push-ups every day and hopefully my arms will get bigger over time. Cause yeah, you know what? As a man, it's important to have some sort of body mass for various reasons. I mean, for aesthetic reasons, obviously. Why is my hand shaking so much? Look at this. I'm not doing that. That's just my hand shaking. That's odd. Why could that be? I don't know. Sometimes it just happens. So that's one thing. I go aesthetics, practicality, being able to lift heavy things, quite useful. And another important factor, intimidation. People don't fuck with you if you look like someone that can beat the shit out of them. Whether or not you can actually beat the shit out of them is irrelevant. You don't want them to fuck with you in the first place. Now, again, I'm not trying to look like a bodybuilder here, but I don't want to be fucked with, you know? And that's why I gotta build some arms. I gotta get some Lego, build some arms. Ideally, of course, I would have cybernetic arms. Sadly, technology is not quite there yet. Come on, technology. What's the point of science if I don't have cybernetic arms? What the fuck are you doing? Oh, we gotta cure cancer. Oh no, we gotta cure cancer. Oh, look, we gotta invest all our medical research into fucking Higgs bosons and dark energy and sending people to the moon. Yeah, where the fuck's my cybernetic arms? Where's my cybernetic arms? That's what Science slacking. Science is slacking. If science was truly real, which it isn't, if science was truly existed and was worth it, there would be cybernetic arms by now, but people are just lacking. I mean, okay, there are cybernetic arms. They do exist, but they're not on point. They're not on point, okay? Look at this shit. Look at this fucking toothpick ass motherfucker. That's terrible. That's horrendous. Makes me feel like a... look, that fucking bee that's on my ceiling right now, that's just been chilling there, has fucking bigger arms than me. I need to fix up. I desperately need to fix up. If any of you who are watching, this is a good... Hey, this is one of those times when having an audience comes in handy. Any of you who are watching happen to be fit people, I would highly appreciate some advice on ways to have bigger forearms and biceps without going to a gym. I know obviously push-ups seem like the easy thing. Push-ups with your arms, your elbows close into your body. I don't know if there's a special name for them, but yeah, because I know when you have your arms, and I know a little bit about this. I know if you have your elbows out, that's more building pecs or whatever and shoulders, and if you have your elbows in, that's more building your arms. But I don't know how to necessarily build forearms. I mean, I could just listen to myself in that video that I posted where I'm about twiddling a pencil. I don't know how effective that actually is. My only source on that is my dad. I mean, there is one other option that I've been wanting to do for ages. The problem is that it involves going outside. However, I feel like it could be worth it. And that option is going to a climbing gym, joining a climbing gym. There's a really nice climbing gym in London that I used to go to as a kid, but I'm I've been considering it. Problem is it's on the other side of London, so that's a shame. But maybe one day I'll do, or maybe there's one closer to me that I can join or something, because that's a really good way to build grip strength, which is good for your forearm and also general body strength. I think climbing is one of the best activities to build practical strength. Because yeah, that's what you need really, is practical strength. So, but then obviously the problem is that I have to leave my room, which I don't know how motivated I'm going to be to do that in the future. So, if anyone has any ideas or knows anything, please tell me in the comments how to get some arm strength, because I am severely lacking in that department. Look, okay, I'm about to cringe. I'm about to produce cringe. I'm about to post cringe and lose subscriber. Here's me tensing my arms so you can see how pathetic I am. This is me motivating myself by showing how pathetic I am. Dude. God, look at that. It's nothing. God, that's terrible. Oh, that's fucking awful. Look at this shit. That is embarrassing. I've just embarrassed myself for all of you to see. And the only cure for this is to do push-ups. So I'm going to do push-ups every day. And hopefully that works. I'm hoping. I mean, I don't know that much about fitness. If any of you happen to know, please tell me how to do that. But yeah, that's my goal. I need to get slightly larger arms to make the rest of my body look proportional, because I thought that I was putting on weight, but having actually weighed myself now and taken a closer look at things, I seem to be generally fine. It's just that my arms are so skinny that it makes my torso look wider than it actually is, because the proportions are all wrong. So I need to build bigger arms. I mean, my legs are okay. I can always do squats. That's easy. And my core is surprisingly strong for no reason. I used to do for a little while when I was like 15, I decided I really wanted a six-pack. I didn't get a six-pack because I didn't end up. To get a six-pack, you need to cut a lot. You need to lose you need to have a very little fat around your waist. But I did do a lot of core exercises in that time before learning that. So I did a lot of crunches, and I did that thing where you lie on your back and kick your legs. Not kick them, but you know what I'm talking about. I did that every day for a while, and for some reason I just never lost that muscle. So I have a pretty decent core in terms of strength. But yeah, my arms are just severely lacking. It's honestly disgusting. What else do I need to do? So yeah, that's gonna happen. I'm also gonna learn, obviously the end goal is to live in the woods, to go move to a little cabin away from society and just live in the woods, right? That's the end goal. So I need to learn foraging. That's a very important skill. I need to learn how to forage for some food, because you can just get food for free in a forest. It's fucking nuts. People are so caught up in capitalism. They think eating should cost money instead of just walking outside and picking up a fucking plant. It's ridiculous. I need to do that. I don't think I've ever actually mentioned this anywhere, but the one of the reasons why it may often seem like I'm worse at guitar than I actually am, not that I'm not pretty bad at guitar, but one of the reasons for that is that half the fucking strings on my guitar are actually the wrong strings. The most standout one is this one, which is way thicker than all the others, but in actual fact my E string is in fact a D string, but I currently have it tuned to drop D, so it's currently an octave lower than it's supposed to be made for, which means it's very loose, and it's always like this. So I have this incredibly loose E string / bottom D string, and then I have this incredibly thick gauge made out of completely different material string, and then this, and then all my nylon strings are nylon, and that's its own fucking thing. And then I bite my fingernails so I can never pick properly, so I always use a pick. But when I'm playing Minecraft music, I can't use a pick. You have to play it fingerstyle. Not to mention my guitar's fucked. Look at this shit. Look at that. That ain't supposed to happen. Look, that's bad. None of that's supposed to happen. Sounds like a fucking sitar. slightly out of tune, but I don't give a fuck. So there's the, you know what? It may be a shitty classical guitar that's like secondhand from like 10 years ago or whatever, but it's not as good as my bass, I'm not gonna lie. Playing bass is much more fun. However, you gotta plug that shit in, or that's all you hear, which is slightly inconvenient. And fuck buying an acoustic bass. If you own an acoustic bass, there's no hope for you. But the best thing about bass I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this since I was a kid and I first found out about dark energy. If you don't know what dark energy is, allegedly, according to physicists and the like, most of the things in the universe, most of the stuff in the universe is dark matter and dark energy. When people put dark in front of something, it basically just means they don't know what it is, but they need it to make their equations work. Right? Like, these equations work perfectly fine and can make accurate predictions and do everything we need equations to do. However, we have to add a bunch of dark energy into them to make it work. But it does work when we do that. My theory is, well, you know what? I'm gonna place a bet. You can hold me to this right now. I bet you the next major breakthrough in physics, it won't happen for quite a while. The big breakthrough in physics in our lifetimes, perhaps, or maybe not, is gonna be disproving dark matter and especially dark energy. Dark matter I don't know as much about, but in order for inflation to happen, in order for the inflation, if you don't know about this, the Big Bang happened, and according to how things work, it should have gone. Let me get some light on the situation. It should have gone like Big Bang, and then that's about it, and then it should have just slowly gone out. But there was inflation, which meant very quickly after the Big Bang there was some quick boost of speed, which made it was like a 2-stage rocket. Like, there was the Big Bang and then there was inflation, and in order to make inflation make sense, they need to have dark energy, which is just like some energy that we can't know, we can't see, but it must be there because it makes all the calculations work. And E equals mc squared, energy is matter, the same thing. So most stuff is dark energy in order to make the universe, in order to make inflation work. I have no reason to believe this other than, well, I have my reasons, but I won't get into them here. Anyway, I think it's probably going to be like a little bit like Newtonian physics. You know, you can use Newtonian physics perfectly fine to make predictions about lots of things, and it fucking works completely fine. You can accurately predict the orbits of planets with Newtonian physics completely fine. But if you want to know why they work, like, it's not Newton didn't have the full picture. That's the entire point of Einstein, right? It's going to be the same. Trust me on this one. It may have some quantum shit going on even. Who knows? Maybe, you know, everyone's always talking about quantum gravity and quantum relativity, right? Like the final fusion between quantum physics and general relativity, which I think is bullshit. I think that's expresses a lack of appreciation for things to come, because that all that is really big things and really small things being governed by the same laws. But I think it's a little more interdimensionality than that. But everyone goes on about that like that's going to be the thing that solves physics, as if it's even possible. You know, we're going to reach the limit at some point. My problem with materialism in general is that materialism assumes that what we can observe is what exists. But I mean, it's incredibly easily disproven scientific funny enough, using your own methods, using science, the most materialist thing, right? Just look at something like string theory, or M theory, right? I mean, these are theories that are literally unprovable because there is no way to observe them. I don't know how much the average person knows about string theory, but the strings in string theory are, let's put it this way, they're fucking very, very small. they're kind of insanely small. They're kind of they're so small it boggles the mind. Like, they make quarks look like planets. Yeah, I think, I don't remember if this is accurate, but I believe as one of the strings from string theory is like, I don't remember the exact scale, so I don't want to say something wrong, but it's very, very fucking tiny. Like, if you think atoms are small, think about how tiny atoms are, right? Every breath you take, every move you make, I can't say every breath you take without saying that afterwards. Every time you breathe in, your breath contains at least one atom of air that was breathed by the last T-Rex to ever live, right? Because atoms are just that tiny that's how many there are in your breath, and it's ridiculous. But there you go. Atoms are really fucking small. I'm not sure if you noticed. And then atoms are not the smallest parts. You know, they're made up of protons and neutrons and electrons, right? And then those are made up of quarks, which are even smaller. You know, you got all the up, down, top, bottom, left, right, strange, charm quarks. But then, like, that's kind of insanely small. It's kind of insanely small. But then even smaller than that. Remember that most of, like, it's not like those diagrams that you see of an atom where they're just like everything's really close together. Most of the vast majority of an atom is empty space. It's like 90% nothing or something. I might be wrong, but and then quarks are even smaller than that. And then strings make quarks look like fucking galaxies. That's how tiny they are. And the only way to observe something, right? If you think about how do we observe something? Let's say I want to take a look at this fan over here that you can probably hear, right? Well, I'm looking at the light particles that are the photons that are being bounced off of it from the light from my window, right, or from my laptop, and those are entering my retinas, and my brain's seeing it. Let's say I want to look at something really small, like, I don't know, let's say I want to look at an electron, or let's say I want to look at an atom. Then I have to use an electron microscope, or a scanning tunneling microscope, or something like that, right? Which also basically does the same thing, fires a really small thing, like an electron, at the atoms, or at the molecules, and then, because it's so small, you can pick up some detail, but it's not super high resolution, but it'll do. But then once you get to the level of like strings, there is nothing that small that you can fire. You can't fire something at a string and let it bounce back. You can't do anything to it. You can't disturb it because it's just so fucking tiny that there is nothing you can use to measure it. So there you go. String theory is literally unprovable. Prove me wrong. This is a pretty common criticism, but the thing is, it's not a criticism of the theory. It's really a criticism of the limits of the scientific method and materialism in general, that what exists is what there is, right? You stupid bitches. You really walking Bigfoot. Bigfoot is real. I know Bigfoot is real. I know. You know, people get confused about Bigfoot. Bigfoot isn't like a normal cryptid, you know. Bigfoot isn't the same as like the Loch Ness Monster or something. Like it's just some monkey in person. No, you stupid idiot. You don't even fucking know what you're talking about. Bigfoot is an interdimensional creature that pops into our dimension and out of our dimension you can't hunt him with normal methods because he's like a dimension traveling predator who just eats things and no one really knows, I guess. But that's the thing about Bigfoot, it's very hard to pin down. Anyway, and this is why you have to abandon materialism if you ever want to get to the root of the matter. You should understand that there is no root of the matter, and that's what will allow you to get there. There's one more thing I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was. There was something. Nope, don't know. You should just read the poster that's over there, which you can't see, but here, I'll turn the light on very quickly. Oh, it's not zoomed in. Let me zoom in. You can't read it, it's too far away. It says something like, when you start to look close at things, not what it says, like a little sticker. I read this out in one of my other videos. I think it might have been How to Clean Your Room 2019 tutorial, or something like that. It's about how when you start to look closely you realize that we're not living in just one reality, but experiencing multiple concurrent and intersecting realities all at the same time, because time is an illusion, obviously, and so is reality. Obviously, what, you didn't know that? What are you, a little piss baby? I've tried so many times in so many different videos to explain what reality is to you fucking idiots, but I can, it's not the sort of thing that's easy to put into words, let's put it that way. Yeah, this is a fucking hopeless task. I guess you'll just have to see for yourself. If you want to know, if you really want to know, look, I don't suggest doing this. I've never done it myself, but I've heard tell, if you get a mirror, you wait till like 3 to 4 a.m., right? You get a mirror and you light a candle and you just stare at your reflection in the mirror in a dim, like with no other lights, just the candle. Or I mean, I guess the candle doesn't really matter. You can even just use like really dim light, but I think the flickering of the candle helps. But yeah, you just at like 3 a.m. get a mirror, get a candle, turn off all the lights, and just sit there and stare at yourself. Apparently, things will be revealed to you. I don't know if they're good things. I've heard bad things. Who knows? One day I'll probably try it out. Not today, but someday it'll probably happen. In fact, it will almost certainly happen. Or if you don't want to go that far, there's plenty of stuff you can do to figure it out. Just Google it, bitch. I just want to talk real quickly about one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I don't talk about Star Trek enough on this channel. If you haven't seen Star Trek: The Next Generation, you should have seen it because it's good. Okay, so it's a two-parter called Chain of Command. If you're a Star Trek fan, you probably know it. But a quick plot summary. It's mostly a political drama, like most of Star Trek is. Dodgy politics stuff is happening with the Cardassians, not the Kardashians, the Cardassians, who are like an alien. They're like lizard people, but they're not. They kind of look lizardy though, but they're like they're like a military dictatorship, and they, to summarize briefly the very complex but political situation, they're trying to expand into Federation space or something. Well, yeah, the idea is to take some more territory so they can, do what military dictatorships do, which is what they do. Anyway, I don't want to get into that too much, but essentially what you need to know is the two main plot points in this episode, or two episodes, is Picard gets captured by the Cardassians, and in the meantime there's another captain who's been assigned to the Enterprise, and both plot lines are executed amazingly, and they play off of each other amazingly as well, because the thesis of this episode at its heart is about dominance and submission. Like the captain that replaces Picard, this is one of the best things about the writing in Star Trek, is they still stray away from complete black and white. Like, even though the captain that replaces Picard is clearly the antagonist, he is never just like played as an outright villain, or never does anything actually bad. Like, he just happens to not have it. They just put this character in this setting and let him interact with the other characters and just let his flaws come out. But in some cases they're not even flaws. Like, for example, he gets on with Data perfectly fine. He gets on with Geordi perfectly fine. But it's mostly just Riker that they have like a clash of personalities. But even though it turned like it basically, the impression you get by the end is that his style of captaining is flawed for this ship, at least. For these people, it never it doesn't. The episode doesn't just come out and present him as a Le'Eben bad guy or whatever. He has his good points and his bad points. When he moves in, one of the first things that he does is takes his kids' drawings and puts them on his desk. I mean, they do everything they can to immediately make him likable and human. And also, him and Picard are I don't know if they're old friends, but they definitely knew each other beforehand, and so they get on pretty well the whole time. It's done way more subtle than most TV shows, especially American TV shows. It's not just. So his main problem is just that he's pretty controlling. Like, he's more controlling than Picard. He's more, he wants everything done the way he wants it done, and the episode just lets it take its course and just points out every moment, just lets things happen that could perhaps show why that's not appropriate in every situation. Like, there's a great scene where he's I don't want to get too much into the plot, but something happens basically with he's trying to negotiate with the Cardassians, and he uses it as some sort of tactic, and Riker says, well, I'll say one thing about him, he's definitely sure of himself. And then how have I forgotten her name? Deanna Troi, that's her, right? Yeah, Deanna Troi, who's a Betazoid, or half Betazoid. If you don't know Star Trek, the Betazoids can read people's minds basically, but because she's only half Betazoid, she only has she can sense emotions, but she can't read minds fully. She's not fully psychic. So Riker's like, I'll say one thing about him, he's definitely sure of himself. And then Deanna says, no, he's not. It's like a takedown of his machismo. There's a lot of takedowns of machismo in this episode. I haven't even gotten into the main, that's the B plot that I'm talking about right now. Anyway, it all comes to a pretty satisfying, that plot comes to a pretty satisfying conclusion. But then the main plot, or the A plot of the story, is Picard gets captured and tortured, and it's essentially just a very cleverly done takedown of why torture exists and why it's bad, but not from it essentially takes down torture in every way you possibly can. Obviously, there's the moral aspect and the legal aspect, which it pretty much deals with instantly. But then it spends most of the time just pointing out that torture is useless as a means of... It doesn't actually serve the purpose it's supposed to serve. Instead, it just acts as a power dynamic, just a struggle for dominance and control over someone, machismo style, rather than actually to try and get information out of someone. Now, if this sounds interesting to you, I recommend you go and watch this episode. It's season 6, episode 10. It's on Netflix if you have Netflix. It's very easy to find Star Trek Next Generation online, because I'm going to spoil the ending. So if you want to see it fresh, I would highly recommend just going and watching that episode now, or skipping forwards or something, because I'm about to spoil the ending. So, okay, you've been warned. Spoiler territory now. So, I know you haven't left. What the fuck? A YouTube video just started playing about Mark Ritsu. Anyway, I know you haven't left, even though you haven't seen the episode, and you're gonna get spoiled now, so don't say I didn't warn you. Anyway, so he's torturing the Cardassian is torturing Picard, and the whole time he's torturing him, he's trying to break him, right? And what his technique is, he has these 4 lights, and he implants a device in Picard that means he can press a button and cause him intense pain. But of course, Patrick Stewart's acting is just incredible the whole time, as is to be expected. Everyone's acting is incredible, and the writing is amazing in this bit. But yeah, so there's these 4 really bright lights, and he puts a thing in him and basically says, "How many lights are there?" And Picard's like, "There's 4." And then he shocks him and is like, or causes him pain, presses the button, makes him writhe on the floor in pain. Is like, "I think you'll find there's 5 lights actually." And he basically, the whole time he's trying to get information about the Federation's defense plans and stuff. He keeps asking him how many lights are there, and Picard keeps saying there's 4 because there are 4, and he keeps saying, "No, there's 5. There's 5 lights. How can you be so mistaken?" And then torturing him some more, and obviously not letting him eat. He doesn't know if he's ever going to get out, and it goes on for days and days. And then eventually we learn that the Cardassian, through Picard talking to him, the Cardassian grew up in a time of famine before the military dictatorship, which is also a great commentary on how these sorts of societies rise. Like, they didn't have to put this in, but the Cardassians used to be a pretty peaceful race. Weirdly, they put it as peaceful and spiritual people, which is, I guess, whatever. Spirits, peaceful. So they used to be peaceful and spiritual, I guess, whatever that means. And then there was like a famine, and the military took over. And then after the military took over, they started a war, and even more people died than would have died from the famine. But as the Cardassian, because Star Trek's never just one-sided. They never give a character a completely illogical standpoint. Like, the Cardassian's not sitting there being like, "I support these space Nazis for no reason." The Cardassian has a rebuttal to that. He says, "Well, yeah, people died in the war, but the government has now, we have mandated agriculture policies, and people don't starve as much anymore." So you understand his perspective, and he has a daughter as well, and they show her his daughter, the guy that's torturing basically the main character of the show. They show him as a sympathetic, well, maybe not a sympathetic character. He turns out to be quite pathetic, but they show him and his daughter, and you understand. And also, since he grew up in this time when there was a lot of famines, he talks about him growing up on the streets and how he had to scavenge for food and that sort of thing, and how bigger guys used to steal his food from him. And you understand, like, okay, he doesn't want his daughter to grow up in the same way he had to grow up in, and he'll do anything to make sure that happens, even if it may be from our perspective, we can see that it might not work. From his perspective, it's his only option. So see, once again, Star Trek going out of its way to give characters real personalities that in any other show would just be written as generic bad guys. So he continues torturing Picard, and slowly Picard basically becomes aware that he's no longer even torturing him for information. He's just doing it out of a spite, and basically that, since I keep saying basically, like his trauma from childhood is making him want to feel like the dominant one, because he had his food stolen when he was a kid, and he was always beat up as a child growing up in the streets, and now he has this need to enforce dominance over someone. This is in 2 episodes, like they a lot, and this is the only half of the plot. There's a lot of fucking detail in this shit. And this whole time he's asking him how many lights are there, and Picard says there's 4 lights. And then right at the end of the episode, here's the big spoilers, right at the end of the second part, something happens with the Enterprise. It's complicated, and they negotiate for Picard's return. And just before Picard's going to return, he doesn't tell him that he's going to be freed. He says that he tells Picard that the Enterprise has been destroyed and his entire crew's dead, and that they're going to keep him in prison on Cardassia forever. And then he does the light test one more time and says, if you answer this question correctly, you can live a life of luxury, but if you don't answer it correctly, then you'll live in prison and torture for the rest of your life. How many lights are there? And Picard just stares up into the lights with this strange mix of emotions on his face, and then these guards walk in to take him back to the Enterprise, and get him cleaned up and take him back to the Enterprise. But just before he looks at the Cardassian and says, "There are 4 lights." It's a fucking amazing scene. Don't watch it out of context though, because it seems a bit ridiculous and overacted. But apparently Patrick Stewart talked to Amnesty International and about how to properly act as a prisoner of war for that episode, which, I mean, you can tell he does a fucking amazing job as usual, but even for his standard, it's an amazing performance. And the Cardassian does a great performance as well. It's very hard to emote in all that heavy makeup, and he pulls it off. But yeah, afterwards it's revealed that Picard, he says, at the very end, I could see 5 lights. I was sure that I could see 5 lights. It proves that he's been completely broken. And he was about to say that he could see 5 lights because he could see the 5 lights. He only said 4 lights to spite him because he doesn't want to be broken, right? And not only is that an amazing character moment for Picard and a powerful scene, but it's also a very clever takedown of torture as an actual legitimate method, because when they're torturing him, if he's not broken, he's not going to give any information or any act. Like, when you're torturing someone, the idea was to break them so that they give information, right? So if you're not broken, you're not going to give the information, or you're going to give false information, right? But then when he actually finally does break Picard's mind has become so warped that even if he had told the truth, which was that there are 5 lights, he would have been wrong, because there were only 4 lights. And so in the end, it's a great takedown of torture, how this sort of mental manipulation through pain just doesn't work. It just produces false results, and the only reason it's ever used is because of some sort of machismo need for domination over the enemy, rather than actual military strategy. I highly recommend watching it. It's real damn good. I keep fucking burping. It's terrible. There's insects all over me. Everything's gone wrong. But yeah, that's a really good episode of Star Trek, or 2 episodes, I guess. God, Star Trek is so good. There's a few plot holes in this episode. Also, the first half, a lot of the first half is just Picard running around in like kind of cheap, because it's Star Trek, like cheap sets. underground pretending to look for things. Well, I guess he is looking for things, which is, it's good. It's good. I mean that bit's still carried by the other plot with the captain of the other captain. Anyway, that's enough for this section. What could possibly go wrong in my life today? Yep. I've sprung a leak. There's water dripping from my light. That's not good. It's not good for anybody. No one wants to see that. That definitely can't be good. There's water dripping down these walls as well, which I actually think looks kind of cool, but it just looks like a damp patch up there. So the ceiling could probably collapse in on itself any second now. I'm fully overreacting. But yeah, it's not great. It's not great. I just find this shit funny. It's like, if it was happening to anyone else, I would laugh at them. Yeah, we got a leak. My bed's I got fucking woken up at before midday by water dripping onto me. There's some in here as well. It's a big coffee day. It ain't a normal coffee day. It's a big coffee day. I need lots. Should be done by now. I have to wait like 2 more hours before I can eat. I don't even know what I'm gonna eat. Let me think this through. What should I eat? Food-wise. I remember thinking something cool, but I don't remember what it was. Something good for breakfast. Let me think about this. Probably put something with spinach. I fuck with spinach. You can't go wrong with spinach, really, when it comes down to it. If you need something you can't go wrong with, highly recommend spinach. Is there water dripping from here as well? No, it's not. That's good. I don't see how it would even get there. That doesn't make any sense. I'm still fucking half asleep. I haven't even had coffee yet. This is terrible. No, it's fine. Really though. Like, when you think about it. Things could be worse. That doesn't mean it's fine, but things could be worse. Comfy coffee pouring. Yeah, I take it black. Alright, that's enough of that. If they could get any fucking weirder and worse. Okay, so let me list what's happened so far. So I wake up at like 11 after, I guess, sleeping about 5 to 6 hours. Because I feel like, hold on, man, why am I soaking wet? Then I get out of bed, I hear dripping noises, turn on the light, see there's water dripping from the ceiling into my bed, which woke me up. I'm like half asleep, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Blah blah blah. Then I'm ridiculously hungover, so I feel like shit, and I'm trying to sort out all this fucking water dripping from the ceiling. I can't use my electronics because I don't want to get electrocuted, so no lights or anything. Everyone's always like, oh, why don't you have a desktop? Why don't you just get a desktop? This is why I don't get a desktop, motherfucker, because the shit like this constantly happens to me, and now I can move my laptop into this room and not have to worry about getting fucking electrocuted. That's why I don't get a desktop, motherfucker. So I'm just chilling, waiting for it to be 16 hours since my last meal, because, you know me, I'm on that intermittent fasting kick. I have a stopwatch. It's currently been 15 hours and 50 minutes since my last meal. So, that's cool. So I'm just, drinking some coffee, waiting, feel like shit, and suddenly I feel like I'm gonna throw the fuck up. And then I threw the fuck up. Like, when I say I threw the fuck up, I mean I threw the fuck up. This one, no, like, throw up a little bit, continue your conversation. And this was like, projectile. I got it all in the sink, don't worry about it. There's not like vomit everywhere. But yeah, that was fucking horrendous. The worst part about it, this is what makes it noteworthy, because this has never happened to me before. It was like a dry heaving afterwards. Like, threw up a bunch and then kept trying to throw up. Like, my body was trying to make me throw up, but there was nothing in there. That's never happened to me before. Thought that was notable. Anyway, I'm gonna make some food now. By the time I make it, it'll be time to eat.